Welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing you how you can get your numbers showing up on your screen for real-time temperature monitoring. The first thing you need is MSI Afterburner. Now this is just one of the skins for MSI Afterburner. There's other themes, but it's all the same thing. So what you want to do is go to Settings, Monitoring, and this is where we'll be playing around and getting our numbers onto the screen. So you have your GPU temperature, GPU usage, and if you have an integrated card, it should show up as GPU 2, so you can just disregard GPU 2. But these are the numbers that I use, and you don't need to have all of these numbers showing up at the same time, but I find that it's very easy to troubleshoot things when it is all up on the screen. So you have GPU 1 temperature, GPU 1 usage, and this is how you add any of these values to your screen. Make sure that the check mark is selected, and once it is, so like if it's not, you'll see that this is all grayed out. And what you do is, if this is the value you want, make sure that it's selected, and then select show in on-screen display, and then once you do that, it'll show up there as in OSD. Now these are the values that I use, and I find it quite useful. So I have temperature, I have usage, which is in percent of utilization, so how much the graphics card is actually working, and then GPU 1 memory usage process. Now memory usage / process means that it's the GPU's memory usage for that application and not the total usage of the computer. So I have GPU memory usage / process selected, and then GPU 1 core clock, memory clock, and don't worry about these in organization. It'll sort it on the screen so that it makes sense, and I will show that in a second. So we have memory clock. Power percent is the TDP percentage. So say it's at 100% utilization, but it's not a super heavy game, your power percent will probably be a little bit lower than usual. GPU 1 power. I don't have fans, so I don't select the fans. Now these help greatly, and it's a bit confusing because they're 4 different values, but if you select all 4 of them, right under the graphics card numbers, it'll say at that given time if your graphics card is limited by heat, power draw, if it's just limited by voltage, and no load means that the graphics card is running full speed, but there's not enough weight for it to lift. And next down is all the CPU values. Now, depending on your CPU, you'll have a different amount of these temperature readings. So this is a 14,900K, so it should have 24 total, so 8 P cores, 16 E cores. These are just showing the threads on this one. So I select CPU temperature, which I believe shows the highest value of the CPU instead of having all of them listed. Makes it nice and short. And then CPU usage, I just have, even though it has E cores and P cores, I like to just select CPU usage. I know they're just generic one part value. Now CPU clock, I know that E cores and P cores run at different speeds, but if you just do CPU clock, it's smart enough to know that it's just talking about your P core speed, so you can just select CPU clock. CPU power is in watts, just like the graphics card power, so CPU power. And then like the graphics card, you have these 2 different values. So you have RAM usage, which is the total operating system RAM usage, which I don't find very useful if you're in the game, but if you have limited RAM or something, you could use that too. RAM usage for the application, so RAM usage / process is what I have selected. And then the last 3 are just frame rate, so in FPS, frame time in milliseconds, which they kind of go hand in hand. And at the very, very bottom, I have GPU 1 voltage, and the reason that's a separate value going down, or the very lowest value, is that most graphics cards don't have MSI reading their voltage yet, so you can just select unlock voltage monitoring. The voltage control and constant is different. That's overclocking, and I'll go about talking about that in another video. But those are our values. I do apologize for doing it a little bit fast, but let's see here. So the only other thing you need is Rivatuner Statistics Server, which is installed when you install MSI Afterburner. This is what it looks like. And for those who are also super old like me, Rivatuner is what originated the overclocking for graphics cards, so that's why it's Rivatuner. And MSI Afterburner is just Rivatuner. But the last thing I wanted to show was my toggle button. So I hit the slash button on my keyboard and it turns it off and on. So what this means is if we were to run an application like Heaven, I'll go up here, right here, and I hit my slash button, no more numbers, which reduces your cortisol levels and makes gaming a little bit more comfortable and fun. But there you go, so that's the toggle button. Now the way you get the toggle button, let's quit out of this. The way you get the toggle button is you hit setup, you go to plugins, make sure that checkbox is selected for hotkeyhandler.dll, and then you hit setup. And there's three options here. There's other things, but the three options to turn it on and off is show on screen, hide on screen, and toggle. I used to do like an F2 button, F3 button, but sometimes it interferes. And if you just select a key for the toggle, it kind of does the pause play option like the other two do. So I just put a slash in here. And the way you set one is you click on it, and then you click the key that you want on the keyboard to represent that value. So I just put the numlock slash button for the toggle on screen. So once you have it configured and you have your toggle button, so this is my toggle. There you go. So you have your numbers. And you can use them for troubleshooting or just seeing what the real clocks are, if there's any throttling. Thanks for watching.